Good morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Akil. The top headlines. It's a positive start to trade on expiry day. Nifty inches towards 10,650. PSUs drag the market. Metals extend support. India wicks declines. Open interest surges in Cadila Healthcare and Bata India as these two stocks see strong unwinding, that is with respect to the May futures. HDFC Bank is a top gainer on the Nifty as investors get ready for the new foreign investment limit monitoring system that comes into effect from June 1st. And ICICI Bank is a top loser on the Nifty after the bank announces an independent inquiry into an anonymous whistleblower's complaint against Chanda Kochar, its MD and CEO.
Okay, those are the top headlines at this hour. Today is also the expiry day of the May series, so you can expect some volatility to come by. Let's quickly tell you what's happening in the market today. We've opened on a positive note. Both Nifty, Bank Nifty are trading in the positive territory. However, the futures have been trading at a discount, and that we've been highlighting. So currently, considering it is the expiry day, so just at par with spot Nifty 10,626. Pull up the rollover plate of Nifty. Let's tell you how the rollovers are stacking up. Remember, yesterday there was more build up on the Bank Nifty side where rollovers were above 50%. So no major change actually seen so far compared to yesterday's figure. Bank Nifty on the other side, which has been outperforming so far in the May series, has seen some bit of pickup. 55% is currently the number that we're looking at, and June series open interest is up nearly 11%. Just for a recap, we started this series when Nifty was at about 10,620. So for Nifty, this series has just been about flattish, though it's up only about 0.3%. Look at Bank Nifty. That started at levels of 25,010, and Bank Nifty is the one which has been outperforming. So far, we've seen returns of nearly 6% for Bank Nifty for this series. What levels to expect for today's expiry? Let's just look at the options data. What are we witnessing right now? The 10,650 call, that's seen some unwinding, but addition has come in for the 10,700. No point looking at it because obviously the premiums have come down quite sharply. On the put side, major writing has once again been seen for the 10,600 strike so far. That's added over 15 lakh shares. The premium is somewhere about 11 rupees for that one. So watch out for that range of, I'll say, 20 DMA on the upside for Nifty, which is somewhere about 10,660 for the day. And on the downside, I think the support could come in anywhere about 10,550 or thereabouts. What are the institutions doing? Well, for the last two sessions, they've been creating fresh short positions on the index future side. And also in the last 2 days, I've been observing they've been adding a lot of puts. So that indicates a lot of protection has been bought in the last two sessions by FIs. Agam.
Right. Well, taking stock of what's happening in terms of active stock futures, and quite naturally, we're expecting some unwinding to come through. But I'm going to pull up that list of the stocks which are looking at a surge in open interest in the May futures itself. And, you know, we may have a lot in terms of that list. We have TCS, which is showing, well, a substantial increase in OI. Of course, ONGC, as well as Shree Cement, followed by Max Financial. All of them are gaining anywhere between 16 to 25% in open interest. And V-Guard Industries is looking at fresh shorts considering a weak set of earnings coming through. Are we looking at substantial unwinding today? We most likely should be, and Berger Paints will be one of them, of course, but we can pull up the rollover plate for something like a Berger Paints to take stock of what's really happening, because Berger Paints has been on the gaining end over the last few days, and we are seeing is well, unwinding coming through. As you can see, while the June open interest is up as much as nearly 7%, May open interest has declined by as much as nearly, well, 10-11%. Keep an eye on that one, and along with that, we watch out for Pidilite as well. Pidilite is the other counter which has seen a lot of strength over the past few days, but it is looking at a possible profit taking in today's day of trade with the stock down by as much as 2%.
Okay, we'll be getting you views on all these stock futures from our experts. But before we invite them on our show, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries in the futures and options market, you can call us now on 022-4540-4141. Write to us on Twitter, Facebook, and for the ones who are watching our show on YouTube, you can write your queries on that platform. Also, just don't forget to add the AskPQ hashtag. On that note, let's welcome our F&O experts for the day. Then Ashish Chaturmohta of Sanctum Wealth and Gaurav Bissa of LKP Securities Securities are here with that. Good morning, gentlemen, and thanks a lot for coming on our show today. Ashish, let me come to you first. This series has been all about Bank Nifty, which has, been outperforming so far. What are the key levels that you're monitoring? Is there any expiry-related trade on Nifty or Bank Nifty that you're looking to take?
So good morning, Navneet. So one thing is, today we have seen some gap up opening, and post then we are seeing some correction and hovering both in Nifty and Bank Nifty at day's lows. But one thing which we are observing from the data perspective is that, around 10,600 there is going to be a reasonable support coming to the market, and I believe that this dips which we are seeing in the first half is going to be some short covering in the second half, which can extend till maybe 10,670, 10,680 zone, because technically speaking, in terms of the data, clearly the band is between 10,600 to 10,700, and the way we have opened up today, I think this is just a profit booking because of a gap up opening. I think there is going to be a reasonable support coming around 10,600 band, and once that happens, a move towards 10,670, 680 is what I'm expecting. Right. So to play this trend, I really buying a 10,650 call option of May series. That's expiry call, which ideally I would suggest for today's intraday expiry call. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, I think at these levels I would recommend to initiate a long position with a stop below 26,250 and upside a move till 26,500, 520 is what I'm expecting in Bank Nifty in today's expiry.
All right, well, watch out for these levels. Ashish is recommending to buy a call and on the view that you could likely see the Nifty move upwards in the latter half of the session. That said, Gaurav, good morning to you as well. We did see substantial increase in open interest in the May puts, that is the lower level puts yesterday. Are you of the same opinion, or can we expect an adverse movement on the Nifty right now?
I agree that there's a good support in Nifty at 10,600 mark, and we can head towards 10,660, 670. But then again, that would be the best case scenario. There's a strong reaction at 10,680, 700. As long as we are trading below that, Nifty is going to trade in range. So my bet would be more on Bank Nifty, which if the current level sustain can lead to a bounce back of 26,500.
Okay, that's the view on Nifty and Bank Nifty, which is coming in on the expiry day. But let's bring in some strategies going from our technical experts. I think, Gaurav, you have a Bank Nifty strategy where you're suggesting to buy the 26,500 call for today.
Yeah, I was hoping for a dip. We already seen a dip. I think these prices one can play with the 26,500 call option. Bank Nifty might try to just retest levels of 26,480 to 26,500, in which case the option can double from here. I think that can be a good strategy for the intraday purpose.
All right, well, there you have it. That's how Gaurav and Ashish are looking at trade going in. Let's take a look at what they're recommending with respect to stocks specifically. So, Gaurav, I'm going to come back to you. What stocks are you looking at with respect to trade today?
Well, the first recommendation that comes to the mind is ACC. We have seen that there has been a lot of correction, a lot of short positions that are seen getting built. 1300 is acting as a strong support, and it's bounced back from those levels. Some amount of covering has been seen. One can use the stop loss of 1300. Buy ACC June futures for target price of 1350. Second one is Chevron Pidilite at higher levels. We have seen a good amount of unwinding happening. It's already seen a good jump on the overbought zone. One can have a stop loss of 1175, sell June futures for target of 1130.
Okay, so ACC and Pidilite are the two strategies coming in from Gaurav in terms of stock futures. Ashish, what about you? What are you betting on?
So, my first pick would be a long idea on Infosys. So, I think, with all parameters, whether it's a technical parameter, whether stock has given a breakout on a 5-month chart basis, saw a move till almost 1240, saw a decline towards 1200, again consolidated and taking a support. So, which is a clear sign that the stock is poised for a very, very strong up move. If you look at from the data perspective, rollovers wise, we are seeing a significant, rollovers on in the entire IT IT as a basket. So whether it's large cap IT names or even the mid cap IT names, there we are seeing a good amount of long rollovers which we are witnessing. And third perspective, if you look at most of the mutual funds of PMS, they were very under allocated to the entire IT as a basket, and that allocation has been increasing with the change in times and the kind of volatility markets are witnessing. Clearly IT as a basket is seeing a lot of traction. So keeping all that in mind, I think Infosys can be a good bet positionally as well as in a very short term perspective. 1200 should be kept as a trading stop loss. 1250, 1260 is a short term target in Infosys, but positionally I'm expecting the stock to hit 1290, 1300 kind of zone in next couple of few weeks. So Infosys is a long idea. In the mid cap IT, KPIT Technologies is one stock we have been recommending, and I think in today's trading session also we have seen almost 5% open interest addition. Stock is trading at its all-time high, despite at an all-time high. Last 5 days it is continuously hovering around those levels. So I think 274 is a clear support zone for KPIT Technologies. Keep that as a trading stop loss. 290 is a target I'm expecting in KPIT. And third bet would be on FMCG name, which is Hindustan Lever. Again, after result, stock saw very sharp up move towards 1600 zone, saw some profit booking in last 5-7 trading sessions, created a strong base, and now in last 2 trading sessions we are observing a good open interest addition, clearly indicating that stock is seeing a lot of buying interest even at an all-time high. So keeping that in mind, I think 1570 should be kept as a stop loss in Hindustan Lever. 1640, 1650 is a target I'm expecting in June series. So all these 3 calls are for June series, and this targets one can expect it to happen in next 3 to 5 trading sessions.
All right, some very interesting calls coming in, and of course Ashish has been speaking about HUL and Infosys for some time now with respect to the strength seen in some of these stocks. Let's address some of these stocks which are also buzzing in trade today. And I want to pull up Berger Paints. Can we take a look at Berger Paints, currently trading at 294? What we saw was, move ahead of Asian Paints, and it has been relatively strong. In fact, it was closer to levels of around 300 yesterday. It has seen a 2% decline right now. Ashish, coming back to you, what kind of trend are you witnessing here? Is there more strength available in this stock?
Yes, I think so. See, one need to understand these stocks have been in a range for almost last 2 years, almost 1.5 years. It was in a range, and that range was almost 282 on upside to around 240, 250 on downside. Right. So within this 30-40 rupees band, Berger Paints was trading broadly in last 1.5 years, and now there's a clear breakout which has happened on a higher side with strong volumes. This year the numbers have came in, although in terms of volumes it has not given a big surprise, but in terms of EBITDA margin there is a reasonable uptick, and that is because of the other expenses has come down. So I think keeping all that in mind, Berger Paints is a clear buy for me. I think any dip towards 285, 86, I would like to even average out the position. Okay. 278 is a positional stop loss which I am keeping in Berger Paints, and I think positionally 325, 330 is a target I am expecting in Berger Paints.
Okay.
Okay, that's the view on Berger Paints. The stocks reacted negatively, I guess. Today it's down almost 2%. If possible, can we just pull up the contributors list of Nifty constituents? Because HDFC Bank, remember, that's got 10% weightage in Nifty, and that's the one which is perked up in trade. Remember, that's on back of that news that the FI window, which usually trades at a premium, will be closing as per SEBI guidelines. Look at that. Out of 50 points gains that you're seeing on the gainers side, almost 20 points has been attributed to HDFC Bank. So clearly that's been the leader in today's trading session. Gaurav, HDFC Bank at current levels, would you initiate any position for the June series?
It's already given a good breakout, and one can either buy at the current prices, or one can buy at dips towards 2065. That would be a more lucrative price point. With a stop loss of 2050, it can test levels of 2125, 2130.
All right, so that's the view on HDFC Bank. Gaurav, are you tracking ICICI Bank too? Because there is some weakness seeping in, though largely on account of the news that we are seeing. What are the levels that you're keeping in mind for ICICI Bank?
Well, ICICI Bank is just about trading in near the crucial support levels of 277, 270. That would be the level to watch out for. I think we can see some amount of stability coming around 276 mark. If it reaches 276, then probably one can go short, and the next set of targets would be around 268. But I think at around 276 to 277, we can see some amount of respite coming to the name.
Okay, ICICI Bank, remember, has been weak not only today, but in the last 3 sessions I've been observing it has seen some sharper cuts coming by. Pull up Ajanta Pharma, I guess Ashish wanted to speak on it. The counter has seen some cuts of over 1% in today's trade. 972 is the level. June open interest is seen higher, rollover 55%. Ashish, what are you tracking on the charts for this one?
So, Navneet, we have been recommending a negative view on Ajanta Pharma for a while, since 1140, 1150 odd levels, and clearly look at the structure. It has formed a major head and shoulder formation on a weekly, monthly, all chart frame, and the breakdown happened below this 1145 zone. In this duration, we have seen a significant amount of volume as well as open interest addition build up on the short side. So, keeping that in mind, I think in June series also, we might expect Ajanta Pharma to correct at least 7 to 8% from current levels. 900 to 880 is a target I am expecting in Ajanta Pharma in days to come. So I think if you are on the long side, keep this 960 as a stop loss, and if these levels are broken, it's better to reduce any long exposure in Ajanta Pharma.
Okay, that's the view coming in on a lot of these pharma stocks, which are also relatively weak and have been over the past few days. With that, we'll move across and start taking some queries from our viewers. The first one we take is from Rajesh Nair on YouTube, and his question is it good to buy Tata Global Beverages June 300 call? It's currently trading at 1. We did have Jayesh speak to us earlier today, and he had spoken about a possible up move on Tata Global Beverages. But considering 300 rupees is still a bit far away, let's ask our experts on this particular call. Tata Global Beverages, Ashish, would you recommend buying the 300 call right now?
So it's 2 out of the money call option. It's like, if the stock sees a significant upside, then only is going to make a reasonable sum of money. But yes, in terms of technical parameters, after seeing a sharp correction from 300 odd levels to 240 post result reaction, I think there is some recovery which is being witnessed. There can be a pullback towards 275, 280. If you want to play that pullback, ideal strategy would be to initiate a long position in Tata Global 270 call option. But it's specific to Tata Global. I don't recommend to initiate a long or short in Tata Global, because according to me it's more of a a pullback trend which is happening just because it has seen a very sharp downtick. But yes, looking to charts, some recovery is definitely possible. You want to play that, then ideal 270 call option would be ideal strategy to be on.
Right.
Okay, we are getting some queries on Facebook also. Somil has written to us, and he's asking about a view on Bank Nifty 27,000 call. I don't know, he's not mentioned whether he wants a view for the May or the June series, but I'll take this query to Gaurav. Gaurav, what's the view on the 27,000 call of May and June, if you could give for both, because he's not mentioned the series?
For the current series, I think one should not be looking at it. It's too far away. I would not be too bullish on that. But as for the next series, I think one can probably look at 26,800 if the levels of 26,500 are reached, which had a very high concentration in the current series. Then I think 27,000 can be in the side, and we can see some bounce back coming in the Bank Nifty as well. So then it becomes quite lucrative. But at this point in time, I would not be too bullish on 27,000 call option.
Okay, let's also pull up Just Dial and see where its June futures are currently trading. We have our next query again on Facebook from Anand Sharma Ramachandran. And his question is, what is the technical view on Just Dial and whether or not we can see an up move or a down move for that matter? Currently trading at around 2%. We've seen 43% rollovers come in. Very little change in the May futures. June futures seeing just about a 2.5% increase. Ashish, how are you tracking Just Dial right now?
See, what has happened in the last couple of trading sessions, it has recovered from 360 to almost 600 zone. Now, if you look at in January 2018, the stock did the same rally from 350 odd levels to almost 650 zone. But this time the volumes are much stronger as compared to last time, and technically it has formed a kind of a triple bottom formation somewhere around 400 zone. Right. Now, where the breakout comes, so breakout comes above the 630, 640 zone. technically speaking, chances of this breakouts are very high, looking into purely on a technical parameter. What levels if it gets broken and this trend will become on the opposite side? So I think 560, 550 is a very strong support zone till we don't see a clear breakdown below 550. The chances of breakout on higher side towards 650 is extremely high. What will happen if 650 gets broken on upside? Because technically it's a triple bottom formation. 650 is a breakout point, 400 was a downside, so almost 200 250 range which will be played on upside. So technically speaking, above 650, the technical chart suggests that upside towards 800 850 could not be ruled out. So keeping all that in mind, 550 should be kept as a major positional stop loss.
Okay, just to alert our viewers, the stock is in F&O band for today's trading session. That's just our, which is sitting with gains of 2%. Ashish, I'll come to you for the next query since we've discussed HDFC Bank with Gaurav. Ravi Shankar on YouTube is asking, today morning he bought one lot of HDFC Bank at 2115 for the June futures. I think he's bought at the higher level. It's come off a bit. He wants to know, should he exit or he can look to hold on since it's for the June series?
So I'm happy that although he has bought at a higher price, but at least bought a good stock. So there's no worry. So he might have to average at some point of time, even if it comes to May to fill that gap which is around 2060 2065. Average it to the position, and I think there are very strong chances stock might again cross today's high and can hit somewhere around 2150 2160. So nothing to worry too much, but just average your positions somewhere on downside around 2050 2060 zone.
Okay, well, that's the view coming in there, and we'll move across and take another question on YouTube from Alekhya Ghosh. Can I buy the 10,800 call option at these levels? And by that, I'm assuming that he's talking about the June series.
I think Rajesh also has the same query, so we can address both.
All right, there you have it. So 10,000 call. I'm gonna assume, for at least as far as Alekhya is concerned, this is the June series because we're a fair bit away from 10,800 when it comes to the May series. Gaurav, can I take your view on this one? Do you think Nifty could move above the mark of 10,800 at any time in June? And what would you recommend Alekhya as well as Rajesh should do? Should they take positions in the 10,800 call?
I would not suggest buying 10,800 call option right away. There's a good amount of position at 10,680. So if somebody wants to buy 10,800 call option, the right way or the right approach would be to buy once the Nifty closes or trades rather for some amount of time, about 10,680. Then one can look for types of 10,800 coming in a short period of time. Preempting would not be the right approach. It's trading below the resistance level, so I would not be too gung-ho about it.
Okay, that's the view coming in on the 10,800 call strike of the June series for Nifty, Alekhya as well as Rajesh. You heard Gaurav's advice on that. The next query is from YouTube. Chetan has written to us. I think he wants a view on State Bank of India. He said yesterday's closing was at support of 262 and he's asking what can be done for the June series, I guess. Can we just pull up the June futures of State Bank of India and check where they're currently trading? June futures, if you could just get the plate there, we'll get to know the exact price of that. So 265.5 currently, Ashish. Would you recommend taking any trade here?
So for me, there's no trade in the stock, but yes, I can provide the levels. I think 268 is an important resistance point, but at the same time, 260 is an support zone. So ideally, it is in between. Once it crosses 268, that will give a decent comfort of initiating a long. On upside, if it crosses 268, the probability of 280, 282 will become very high, but keep 260 as a stop loss for any long positions in the stock.
All right, we'll take the next one. This one comes from Ratnakar Panda, and he says, please share your view on Aurobindo Pharma for June series, planning to buy it for the June series. Can we take a look at the futures currently and where it's trading at? It's currently at 562. Gaurav, can I come to you on this one? Your view on Aurobindo Pharma?
It saw some of the bounce back coming, but overall the trend for the stock is the range bound one. And it's just about trading at the support levels. If somebody has bought already, have a stop of 556. For somebody who wants to buy fresh, I would say avoid. There are better names, rather buy at a little bit higher levels. Don't buy something that is trading a range. I would not be too interested in buying Aurobindo Pharma at this point in time. For somebody who's already bought, have a stop of 556.
Okay, that's the view on Aurobindo Pharma. Pull up Reliance Naval. Just want to alert our viewers, today is the last day for this stock to be in the futures and options market. Also remember, I know the June futures and options are open, but for them also today is the last day to trade in it. And the stock this week has been quite active, up 20%. Ashish, considering today is the last day in the F&O market for Reliance Naval, any trade here?
So I think it will attract some short covering, and which can extend till maybe even 19 kind of levels, 18 and a half, 19 levels. But little high risk. So what I would suggest is create a position in the option segment by 1650 or 17 call option to ride this kind of momentum, because if it works out in your favor, it can be a drastic 10-15% kind of up move in a very short span of time. So it's better to play in the options rather than the future segment. I would recommend if you want to play, then ideally buy a call option of 17 strike price.
All right. I think we just have a few more minutes left, so I do want to address what's going on with the public sector banking space. We have already addressed what's going on with SBI, but let's see if there are any more other counters that we can pull up, something like a Punjab National Bank. Now, I've spoken about this yesterday as well, and well, let's see whether or not there is something that's brewing underneath here. Ashish, we've seen a lot of weakness after it announced its earnings. After that, we saw a little bit of recovery. It's moved from levels of below 70, now around 85. What's your view here? Do you think it's consolidating?
So, generally these kind of moves trap, in fact, a lot of traders, because of the high volatility, people assume that there is going to be a strong up move, but it's really very difficult to make money out of this, because at once or twice you will be successful, and in the third attempt, if you get stuck and it's 8-10% kind of losses. So I would avoid any long position in the stock. As far as short is concerned, as of now, it's in a consolidation phase, so I'll wait for a clear breakdown below 82 to initiate any short position, but as a fresh trade on the long side, clearly avoid.
Okay, that's the view coming in on PNB. Quickly, can we just pull up Godrej Consumer? That's hit its fresh 52-week high. The counter has gone up on good volumes so far. Already 50% of yesterday's volumes have been done. 2 lakh shares on NSE has been traded. The counter trades with gains of almost 2%. Gaurav, very quickly, Godrej Consumer at current levels at 52-week high. What would the call be?
This is one stock that has been in a very strong uptrend for past many months, I would say. Having said it, I would only buy for trading over here. Have a stop loss of 1145 on the upside. Targets of 1175 can be seen, but for positional bet, this would not be the right stock.
Okay, well, I think we've run out of time, so I'm going to thank both our experts, Gaurav as well as Ashish, for joining us and giving us their views, and as well as solving some of our viewer queries. But with that, we're going to move across and address some earnings. It has been a healthy show for Apollo Hospitals with regards to its March quarter numbers, with a 25% growth in its bottom line. What have been the key factors that play behind the healthy numbers? Let's ask the management. Joining us now on the phone line is Chief Financial Officer A. Krishnan, as well as Yash Upadhyay from our research team, to take us through this interaction. Yash, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time out and speaking with us. So first of all, if you could give us some more color as to how the various clusters have performed in the quarter gone by, and if you can share which are the new hospitals that have been commissioned and consolidated in your Q4 results.
Q4 results doesn't have any new hospital. So per se, Q4 results have been a like-for-like organic comparison from your perspective. So clearly, it's done well with a 15% revenue growth that you have seen over last year to 1863 crores in this quarter. And the EBITDA has actually grown by almost around 26% to 213 crores. And PAT also has been a 24% growth versus last year, same quarter. So clearly, the quarter has been good. The overall growth has been 10% for healthcare services or hospitals, and 20% for standalone pharmacies. That's the mix of the growth that we have for the 15% that I spoke. And even within the 10% healthcare services, the mature hospitals grew by almost around 7%. And the new hospitals as a cluster, we have almost around, 13 new hospitals that we have added over the last, 3 years. And all of that, we have a 2,000 plus crores of capital employed in these new hospitals. So these hospitals grew by almost around 24%. So, so within the clusters, I think we have seen good progress in places like Bombay, Bangalore, etc. Even in a place like Chennai, I think we did see acceleration in the momentum in this quarter.
And so how has been the performance for Hetero Pharma and Nova hospitals?
Hetero has also done well. For the, Hetero is part of the overall standalone pharmacies which is there. And Hetero EBITDA margins has gotten to 2% now. So that's been good. So on the other side, which is Nova, which is part of Apollo Health and Lifestyle, that is part of our consolidated results, and that is something that we have said, that is something that will take some time, if you ask me, because we have said that this is an investment for the medium term. It's not an investment for the short term. So clearly, there is it will take at least FY20 to break even, is what we have said.
And so what has been the occupancy levels, and have you taken any price hikes at any of the hospitals?
So the current occupancy levels across the cluster is 65%, and we have over 300 new beds that we got occupied this year, 250 rather, new beds that were occupied in this year. If you look at, we have not taken any price hike in this quarter.
So what is the capex pipeline looking like for the company, and what can we expect, and when can we expect the majority of the capex to be over, and what will be the modes of funding it?
So I think our balance capex now, if you look at our overall capex now, I think we have almost on most of our capex. We have said that we have added so much of capex, and we are now looking at actually, because if you look at the total capital employed at 2,000 crores. There is clearly an ability for us to add 200 to 300 crores of EBITDA and over 1,000 crores of top line in all these hospitals over the next couple of years, 2 to 3 years, which is what we are focusing on. So we have actually added this, this phase of capex actually has come to a conclusion for us. We have one last hospital which is coming up and in Proton, and we have South Bombay, which is going to be only 3 years away from now. So clearly the capex is not over 500 crores that we have as we speak.
So with newer beds coming up outside of the main metro cities, do you believe this could put pressure on your margins as the pricing power won't be very strong?
No, I don't think we have a worry around that at all. We are quite, we have a very differentiated offering, and we are continuing to focus on select specialties like cardiology, oncology, neurosciences, etc. The demand for quality healthcare is intact. India needs a lot of beds over the next several years to take care of its health needs. We don't think there's going to be any pricing pressure from that perspective.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Krishnan, for taking the time out and taking us through your Q4 results. All the best for the future, and back to you, Agam.
Well, Yash, hang on, because we also need to address V-Guard, which is trading with cuts in today's trading session after the company's March quarter margins shrunk to as much as 5.7%. To help us decode these earnings for the quarter gone by further, joining us on the phone line is the chairman, Co-Joseph Chittilapilli. Yash is still with us. So, Yash, if you can, take us through this conversation on its earnings. Over to you.
Okay, Agam. So, sir, can you help us understand what are the reasons behind the slow growth in your Q4 revenues as compared to a strong third quarter, and how are you assessing the performance in your electrical and electronics division?
So the revenue growth is about 6%. In fact, if you look at the like-to-like revenue growth, it's almost 12%. Because there is a 6% drop in the sales value because of GST and the exemption, removal of excise component from the sales. Also, last year we had a product called LT cable, which is primarily an industrial product, which we have since discontinued. That was also contributing about 2% of sales. So actually, the like-to-like revenue growth is about 14%. Q4 being a very large and very large base. 14% like-to-like growth is pretty good, considering the environment.
So your margins, they have also come off significantly on a year-on-year basis. So what are the reasons behind this, and can we see margins sustain at the current levels?
So if you look at Q4, our margins have come down from 9.7 to 6.3% EBITDA margins. That's primarily because our advertisement expenditure has gone up from about 2% to 7%, so almost a 5% increase is there in the advertisement expenditure. That's primarily related to the heavy spending related to the brand relaunch, which started in February. That's Q4 of FY18. Last year there was not such heavy activity in advertising. So this is going to be a one-time cost, so it's not going to continue for every quarter. There will be some more expenditure coming in Q1 of this year, but not to such a high extent. So after this, I think the margins should normalize. For the full year, we had hit about 8.5% EBITDA margins, which is less by about 2% compared to last year. It's again explained by this increase in advertisement by about 2%. So other than the advertisement cost increase, pretty much all the other expenditures are well under check.
Now, Mr. Chitalapalli, your consumer durables business, that has posted a strong growth in the fourth quarter, but it continues to be making an operational loss. Can you help us understand what are the reasons behind this?
So the growth has been driven by the fan segment, which has grown by about 18% on a very large base. We have also grown by about 40-50% in the kitchen appliances business. I think the loss is mainly because of the heavy spending on advertisement and promotion. So one of the product categories we use for the product launch has been the fan segment. So the fan business has been loaded with a lot of the advertisement costs. So that's the primary reason for loss. Otherwise, the margins for the consumer durable segment is intact.
And so finally, if you could leave us with the outlook for FY19 for the electronics business.
So if you look at the full year, we are hoping to grow by 15%. And if you look at the current financial year, our growth is about 10%, but like-to-like growth is about 16%. So we have pretty much achieved what we set out to do. The electronic business, we expect to grow by about 17 to 18% because the DU, that is a inverter and battery business, we are expecting to grow slightly faster than 15%, and stabilizer we are hoping to grow by about 10%.
Okay, thank you, sir, for giving us an update with respect to your Q4 numbers. With that, back to you, Agam.
Thanks, Yash, for joining us and taking us through that conversation. Of course, we got trading downwards as much as 5%, but as far as the benchmark indices are concerned, trading steady in the green for now. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. Don't go anywhere. Lots more lined up, so stay tuned in a Bloomberg.